Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Ganana Antva Ganapati Gammavamahe Kavin Kavinam Upavashravastramam Jam Brahmanan Brahmanaspata Anushrunnoti Visida Sadhanam. Om Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Om Keshwaya Namaha. Om Narayana Om Madhvaya Namaha, Om Govindaya Namaha, Om Vishnuvaya Namaha, Matsudraya Namaha, Trivikramaya Namaha, Bhamanaya Namaha, Sridharaya Namaha, Rishikeshaya Namaha, Padmanabhaya Namaha, Damodaraya Namaha, Vasudevaya Namaha, Pradyumnaya Namaha, Niruddhaya Namaha, Purushottamaya Namaha, Dokshaya Namaha, Narasimhaya Namaha, Achyutaya Namaha, Janardhaya Namaha, Upendraya Namaha, Hare Namaha, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. They're talking about Dharma. Our Hindu Dharma is very ancient, and it is called Sanathana Dharma because it's ancient. The eternal religion or the ancient law is based on our Veda system, Vedas, sacred books given to men many long years ago. The Hindu religion, Hindu Sanatana Dharma depend upon Vedic information what we received by rishis and saints in the past. Hindu religion, because it is the religion that was given to the first nation of the Aryan race. Arya means noble. Arya Vaishyas are nobles. Like Arya Vaishya Vike. Arya means noble. That means they have undergone all the samskaras. All the Shodasha Samskaras, 16 samskaras they have undergone from the childhood to the adulthood and then to the sannyasashrama and also Vanaprastha like that. There are 16 stages, and the name was given to a great race, much finer in character and appearance than the races which went before it in the world's history. The first families of these people settled in northern part of the land, now called India, Aryavarta it's called. That part in which they first settled was named Aryavarta because these Aryans lived in it. The land from the eastern ocean to the western ocean between the two mountains of Himalaya and Vindhya Parvata, the ones are called Aryavarta. In later days, the religion was called the Hindu religion, and this is the name by which it is now usually known. It is the oldest of living Hindu religion, and no other religion has produced so many great men, great teachers, great writers, great sages, and great saints, and great rishis, great kings, and great warriors, and great statesmen, and great benefactors, and great patriots. The more you know of it, the more you will honor it and love it, and the more thankful you will be that you were born in Hindu religion. But unless you grow up worthy of it, this great and holy religion will do you no good. We need to understand and grow along with the Hindu religion and Hindu worthy of it. Now, the basis of Sanatana Dharma or Hindu Dharma, the ancient religion is based on one strong foundation on which are erected the walls of its structure. The foundation is called Shruti. Shruti. That means that which is heard, that which has been heard from the God. The saints and rishis, they heard. The walls are called Smriti. Smriti, that which has been remembered. You are hearing the Shruti from the ears, and Smriti is in the brain, remembering it. The Shruti has been given through very wise men who heard it and received it from Devaganas. These sacred teachings were not written down till comparatively modern times, but were learned by heart and constantly repeated by Gurukula. Maharishi gurus were getting the messages, and then they later written these things. The teacher sang them to his pupils in the Gurukula, and the pupils sang them after him, a few words at a time, over and over again, till they knew them thoroughly. Boys still learn the Shruti in the same way as their forefathers learned it in very ancient days, and you may hear them chanting it in any Vaidika Patashala or Vedic school at the present time. The Shruti consists of Chaturvedaha. There are 4 Vedas. Veda Vyasa Maharishi divided the Vedas into 4 groups. That's why it's called Chaturveda, the 4 Vedas. Veda means knowledge related to God and devotion, that which is known. And the knowledge which is the foundation of religion is given to man in the 4 Vedas. They are named Rigveda, Samaveda, and Yajurveda, and Atharvana Veda. Each Veda is divided into 3 parts. Vedic mantras or Samhitas collection. Now the second one is Brahmanam. Brahmanam. And the third one is Upanishad. The mantra portion consists of mantras or sentences in which the order of sounds as a particular power produces certain effects. These are in the form of hymns to the devas for the prayer, whose relations to men we shall study presently, and when they are properly chanted by properly instructed persons, certain results will follow. This is very important. The mantras are hymns given by devas whose relations to men in aspect of devotional activities, and when they are properly chanted by properly instructed persons, certain results will follow. These are used in religious ceremonies, and the value of the ceremony depends chiefly upon their proper repetition. Brahmana portion of the Veda consists of directions about ritual and explains how to perform the ceremonies, in which we were used mantras given in the first part, Vedic mantras, and further the effect of using the mantras in religious ceremonies, that is given in Brahmana, second portion. Mantras given in the first part, further stories in connection with them. The Upanishad portion consists of a deep philosophical teachings on the nature of Brahman, on the supreme and separated self, on man and the universe, on bondage and liberation. Upanishad portion consists of deep philosophical teachings on the nature of Brahman, on the supreme and the separated self, on man and the universe, on bondage and liberation. It is the foundation of all philosophy, and when you are men, you may study it and delight in it. Only highly educated men can study it, Veda. It is too difficult for all the other people. There was a 4th part of the Veda in the ancient days, sometimes called Upaveda or Tantram. This consisted of science and practical instructions based on the science, but very little of the true ancient Tantra remains, as the Rishis took them away as unsuitable for times in which people were less spiritual. Some tantric forms of ritual are, however, used in the worship along with or instead of the current Vedic forms. The books now extant under the name of the Tantras are generally not regarded as a part of the Veda. That which is found in the Shruti is of supreme authority, given by Lord Narayana himself, and is accepted by every faithful follower of Sanathana Dharma as a final. All the sects, all the philosophical systems appeal to the Shruti as the final authority, determining every dispute. The Shruti or Dharma Shastra, Smriti or Dharma Shastra, Hindu Dharma Shastra, is founded on and stands is the next in authority to the Shruti. Smriti or Dharma Shastra is founded on and stands next to in authority to the Shruti and consists of 4 great works written by sages, the chief contents of which are laws and regulations for the carrying on individual, family, social, and national life. Hindu society is founded on and governed by these laws. These are laws which we have to follow in our Manava, in a Hindu Dharma. Manusmriti, it is called Manava Dharma Shastram. It's also called as Manusmriti. Manusmriti or Manava Dharma Shastram, the institutes of Manu. Swayambhu Manu is the first Manu after the universe started by Brahma. And his Smriti is the instruction of Dharma Shastra. We are also following it. We have to follow. Yajnavalkya Smriti. The second one is, first one is Manusmriti. The second one is Yajnavalkya Smriti. The third one is Shanka Likita Smriti. Shanka Likita Smriti. And the fourth one is Parashara Smriti. They're all regulations which we have to follow. The first of these is the chief compendium of Aryan law is Manusmriti, Manu being the great lawgiver of the race. Hindu chronology divides the history of a world into 7 great periods or cycles of time, each of which is begin and is ended by Manu, and is therefore called Manvantara. Lawgiver of the race. Hindu chronology divides the history of a world into 7 great periods or cycles of time, each of which is begun and is ended by a Manu, and is therefore called Manvantara. Manu Antara, between the two Manus is one period, that is Manvantara. Now we are going through Vaivasvata Manvantara. Present Manvantara is Vaivasvata Manvantara. 6 other Manus, very great-minded and of great splendor, belonging to the race of this Manu, the descendant of Swayambhu, have each produced beings. The Swayambhu Manu is the first Manu, and Brahma asked Swayambhu Manu to produce children and families. Shatarupa is his wife. They are created by Brahma, and that's how Swayambhu Manu came into existence. As there are 2 Manus for each Manvantara, that shows that we are in the 4th Manvantara, under the rule of the 7th Manu, who is the next shloka, tells us the son of Vaivasvata. That's what I said, Vaivasvata Manvantara. Some of his laws are handed down in the Manusmriti. And the Yajnavalkya Smriti follows the same general line as the Manusmriti and is next in importance to it. The other 2 are not now much studied or referred to except in some parts of the southern India. We use in South India. The other 2 Smriti is Shankalikita Samsmriti and Parashara Smriti. We are using in South India these 2 in big Vedic center like Sharadamba Matha and like Kanchi Matha. They are the big mathas where Sanathana Dharma is being propagated. The Puranas, while the Shruti and Smriti are the foundation and the walls of the Sanathana Dharma, there are 2 other important supports like buttresses. The Puranas, and the Itihasas. Puranas consist of histories and stories and allegories composed for the use of less learned part of the nation, especially for those who could not study Vedas. They are very interesting to read and are full of information of all kinds. Some of the allegories are difficult to understand and require the help of a teacher. Itihasa comprises 2 great poems. Itihasa, Ramayana, the history of Sri Ramachandra, the son of King Dasharatha, and his wife Sita, and his brothers. A most interesting and delightful story, as you all know. That is Itihasa. And Mahabharata, Mahabharatam in Telugu, Mahabharata in Hindi and Sanskrit, the history of the Kurus, a royal family of northern India, which split into 2 parties, the Kurus and the Pandavas, between whom a great war broke out. It contains immense number of beautiful stories, noble moral teachings, and useful lessons of all kinds. Our Dharma has been explained in both Ramayana and Mahabharata in many situations. What to do, how to do. They are all giving examples, and they are They are really worth reading and following them. These two books, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, tell us most of what we know about ancient India, about her people and customs and her ways of living and her arts and her and arts and her manufacturers. If you read these, you will learn how great India once was, and you will also learn how you must behave to make her great once more, to make our country, India, great once more by following the principles of Manu Shastra and Dharma Shastra. The science and philosophy of Sanatana Dharma, while the Shruti and Smriti, the Puranas and Itihasas, make the edifice of Hindu religion, we found that religion itself has given rise to a splendid literature, science, and philosophy. Summaries of these have been given as lectures in some Hindu colleges, Vedic colleges. The science was divided into Shadangani, 6 angas. The science of the Hindu religion has been given in division of 6 Shadangani, the 6 angas, literally limbs, and these 6 limbs or branches comprised what would now be called secular knowledge. In the olden days, religious and secular knowledge were not divided. They included the grammar, philology, astrology, poetry, together with 64 sciences and arts, and the method by which the study should be carried on, so that anyone who mastered the 6 angas was a man of varied and deep learning. The philosophy also had 6 divisions. The Shaddarshinani, 6 darshanas are ways of seeing things, usually called 6 systems. They all have one object: the putting an end to pain and enabling the separated human selves to reunite with the Supreme Self. And they all have one method: the development of jnanam, wisdom, jnana. So we can learn in Bhagavad Gita also. This wisdom is given in Bhagavad Gita also. In Bhagavad Gita, when we were student in our temple, when I was a younger child, my daddy said, WWW, that wisdom, work, wisdom, and there are 3 W's. One is work, the second is worship, third is wisdom. Work, worship, wisdom. These are the 3 W's. At that time, the computer knowledge of www was not available at that time. This was 3 W's were given in ancient time, in our young age. The ways employed are different to suit different mental constitutions of men, so that they're all 6 different roads, all leading to one town. As to what is called in the 6 systems of philosophy, it will be enough for boys to know this Nyaya and the Vaisheshika. Arrange all the things of the world into a certain number of kinds. Then point out that a man knows all things by means of his senses, or by inference and analogy, or by testimony of other men, wise and experienced people. And then they explain how God has made all this material world out of atoms and molecules. Finally, they show how the highest and most useful knowledge is the knowledge of God, who is also the inmost spirit of man. The knowledge of God, Daivajnana, it is called Devajnana, who is also the inmost spirit of man, and how this knowledge is obtained in various ways. Sankhya Shastra explains in more detail and in new ways the nature of Purusha, spirit, and Prakriti, matter and relation of each to the one to the other. The yoga says that as there are now generally known 5 senses and 5 organs of action, so there are other subtler senses and organs, and explains more fully how they may be developed by men who are seeking to know God, who is their own true innermost spirit. The Mimamsa explains what karma is. That is action. Karma is action. Nitya karma, Naimitika karma, Vayaktika karma, and occupational karma. There are so many karmas. We are going to discuss this again in later. The Mimamsa of the Hindu Dharma Shastra explains what karma is. That is action, both religious and worldly, and what are its consequences, causes and effects, and how it binds man to this world or to another. The karma itself binds the particular man to this world or to another world, because karma is the one which leads to either punya or papa. Every karma leads on to the end result. Consequence is either you make a good karma, sat karma, and achieve punya, or you do dushkarma and attain sin. This sin, the dushkarmas, accumulates, becomes like a big wall between the devotee and the Lord Krishna. To reach Lord Krishna, you have to remove this wall of dushkarma and sin. All this will accumulate as a big wall between the Lord and the devotee. The devotee cannot ask excuse after excuse after excuse, doing many things wrong. He has to correct his mistakes and he has to follow the Dharma Shastra. Then the wall of the sin will go away. Vedanta finally tells fully what is the exact and true nature of the God or Atma, and shows that Jiva of man is in the essence the same as this inmost God, and explains how man may live so that karma shall not bind him, and finally by understanding what the Maya Shakti of God is, by which all this world comes forth and appears and disappears. The Maya Shakti of Lord Narayana is very strong, and that strength of Narayana by which the world comes forth and appears and disappears. So Lord Narayana, in the form of Brahma, he creates. He makes the world to come. And in the name of Vishnu, he makes its continued sustenance. And in the name of Shiva, he destroys. So he is doing all the three activities. Maya Shakti of God is very strong one. Depending upon the Shaktis, world comes forth and appears and disappears. How he may merge himself into and become one with the God and so gain moksha. That's going to be important thing. नमोस्तु अनंताय सहस्रमूर्तये सहस्रपादाक्षरवा सहस्रनाम्ने पुरुषाष्टये सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः आकाशात् पतितं यथागतसागरं सर्वदेव नमस्कारः श्रीकेशवं प्रजगत्यो नमः सर्ववेदेशत्पुण्यं सर्वतीर्थेषु यत्फलं तत्फलं पुण्यमाप्ति वासनाद् वासुदेवस्य वासन्ते जगत्रयं सर्वभूतनिवासोऽसि वासुमृते कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि हरि ओम तत्सत्।